Hi, Vanita, you're on mute.
Hello, it's almost 5:30. We'll give it one more minute for folks to hop on. I can see all my colleagues from Maritime and SLO have hopped on. It's 5:30 and we'll get started. Thank you so much for attending our third virtual orientation session. Today we have for you financial aid, student financials, and EOP joining us. EOP is a surprise visit. We added them in so that Jalen has a chance to share with you about Summer Bridge. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I am Vanita Dillon. I serve as the New Students and Family Programs Director for the Solano campus. We're all getting used to calling ourselves the new campus that we are, merged with Cal Poly. I'm very grateful for all our presenters today. Before I give them the floor, I will kick off today's session with a quick reminder of what to expect on the 16th when you move in with your students. A couple of housekeeping tips. Please keep your devices on mute during the presentation and type in your questions in chat as you've been doing. Some of you are well versed in how that goes. If for any reason you're driving or can't type in your question, we'll save some time at the end for you to hop on and ask your question verbally. So with that, 16th, your student will be receiving an email towards the end of this month or early August with the check-in time. You will arrive approximately at that time, a little bit sooner than that. You will be directed to park in lot O for Orange. Which is the first parking lot as you come onto campus. You will get out of your cars, just walk in to check in with us in PIAC, Physical Education Aquatic Center, where your student will pick up their uniforms. Hopefully they've sent us their sizing so we have the right pieces for them. They'll pick up their uniforms. While they're doing that, we invite the families to meet with some of the faces you'll see over the course of the virtual orientation. And once that is done, about 30-minute time, we'll have some coffee and donuts for you while your student is picking up the uniform. After that's done, you will drive up to your res hall, whether it's McAllister or Upper. The person driving the car will stay in the car. You'll have some help from our student leaders and staff to take your belongings or your students' belongings into their room along with you. Everyone except the driver can do that. The driver must drive away with the vehicle and go park anywhere on campus in a parking spot. Any lot is available. Please look at the map before you leave so you have an idea of where you'd like to park. Towards the end of the day, we will be in the quad or in front of the dining center. So depending on what's available, please park wherever. And while you're with you in your student's room, they will be changing into, are we recording? Can anyone see if we're recording? I've become so nervous about this.
Yeah,
You
it says
are, it's in the
record.
top corner.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you. So please have your student get into the orientation uniform because they'll need to be in their uniform if they've joined the Corps. It's just a pair of blue shorts and a gray t-shirt. That's how they'll be in formation. Once that's done, we will be doing a quick welcome for the families at about 3:30 and capping at 4. There will be the capping ceremony is for the Corps, but we'll have a special ceremony that matches the capping for our traditional students so that we're all one inclusive cohort. After that, we invite you to join us for dinner on the waterfront. The cost for that will be $40 per person. I'm still working on a link where you can RSVP and pay for this dinner. Your alternative is to go off campus and find a place of your choice. We do expect that you will bring your student back by 6:45 p.m. that night because they have a 7 o'clock floor meeting that they cannot miss. So your time frame is going to be between 4:30 and 6:30 to be out for dinner or join us at the waterfront. Once again, please wear comfortable shoes. Although we have shuttles going from lot to lower campus, you might need to walk around. So comfortable shoes and check the weather. Dress in layers. Vallejo is very tricky. It starts out nice and cool and windy in the morning, gets super warm in the afternoons, and then the same cool winds will pick up in the evening as the sun starts to go down. That's my normal regular spiel for the presenters who joined us just now. Once I've shared that with everyone, I give the floor up to you guys to make an introduction for each of you. And then we'll kick off the presentation with EOP talking about Summer Bridge and take it from there, who goes next. After your presentations, which should include your role and any important information you want parents to know. Once that's done, we'll open it up for Q&A. And the Q&A will be in chat. I will read the questions out and allow any one of you to respond to those questions I read out. Please refrain from typing into the chat because I don't know who can read it. Just let's stick with the plan that I read the question and you guys could respond. With that, I will give the floor to, I can see Judy on my screen, so I'll head it over to Judy for an introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Benita. Hi, everyone. Hi, incoming students and parents. My name is Judy Ortega. I am the Student Financials and Concord Travel Accountant. So I'm with student accounts and assisting the cashier as well. I will move this to Jesus.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Jesus Cruz. I'm Director of Student Financial Services here at the San Luis Obispo campus. And I work closely with Judy and Erna and the team at Maritime to go ahead and help the students understand what is in their student financials account and help them understand the process and due dates and also their supporters. I'll turn it over to Saul.
Thank you, Jesus. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Saul Ramirez. I am the Director of Financial Aid at Cal Maritime. Working closely with Judy, Jesus, Erna, the Student Accounting, Cashier, and Services, also known as Financial Services, and not to be confused with Financial Aid. We'll talk about that during our presentation, what they do versus what we do, when to contact them versus when to contact Financial Aid. But we'll delay that for a little bit. I think that should be the introductions, except for Jalen, who will also do the first part of this section. Is that correct? Take it away, Jalen.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jalen. I am the coordinator for the Educational Opportunity Program, or EOP, here on Cal Maritime's campus. It's very nice to see you all. Okay. Pardon me. All right, I'll just give a quick overview of what EOP is and Summer Bridge. So the Educational Opportunity Program, or EOP for short, is a student-oriented support program whose mission is to empower students who come from low-income or educationally disadvantaged backgrounds and who are the first generation in their family to go to college, meaning they're the first in their immediate family to go to a 4-year university. And our goal is to help them achieve their academic and personal goals by providing resources, advising, and community to help them succeed during their time here on Cal Maritime's campus. So one of the resources and benefits of EOP is our Summer Bridge program, which is you can say it's a pre-orientation program. So it's similar to orientation for students, except that it's specifically for students who have been accepted into EOP for this academic year. So it's a week-long program. It'll begin Monday, August 11th, and will go all the way up until Friday, August 15th. So the day right before orientation starts for all new incoming students. And during this time, EOP students will have the chance to get acclimated with the campus, meet our Cal Maritime staff and faculty, and get familiar and acquainted with the campus layout and resources, as well as prepare them for the academic year and to ensure that they have a smooth transition from being high school students into being university students.
Jalen,
Yes.
could you briefly go over the first day when the EOP students and their families arrive on campus, just quickly what that day looks like?
Yes, absolutely. So on Monday, August 11th, all participating EOP students should arrive between 11 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. That'll be our registration and check-in time. Check-in will take place at our upper residence hall. So students and their families will come to upper residence hall. We will have a table set out with myself and some student and our EOP student mentors, and we'll help you check in your student. And we'll also be giving you the time to unload. You'll be able to move in directly on that day to your assigned student dorm. So you'll pick up your keys. We'll hopefully have your student ID also prepared for you at that time. And you'll have the opportunity to be with your family to help move in and arrange your room and unload all of your belongings. If you need anything else, we do have Target nearby up the freeway if you need to leave briefly to pick up any additional items you may not have been able to bring or maybe you forgot to bring. And we will get started with our welcoming ceremony at 3 o'clock at the Mayo Hall building. From there, we'll be able to, our EOP staff as well as our EOP colleagues from the Cal Poly campus will be there to greet you all, to welcome you into EOP. It will give you a breakdown of what EOP is and what will be expected of your student. We'll also have a brief time where we'll have a Q&A session with the parents while the students will get acquainted with their assigned student mentors before coming together once again at 5 o'clock for a welcome dinner. So the families of the students, you are all very much welcome to stay for the welcome dinner to celebrate with your student for this new milestone, this new chapter of their life they'll be stepping into. And then departure will be at 6 p.m. So by that time, we do ask that parents please say your farewells to your students. Don't worry, we're expecting you to stay in contact with them. But at this time, this will be when Summer Bridge begins. We'll bring the students back up to Upper Residence Hall for a floor meeting with our residential advisors or RAs. And from then on, that will be the close of the first day of Summer Bridge.
Thank you so much, Jalen. I know you may not be able to stay for the whole call, so feel free to hop off. If there are any questions that are related to EOP, I will note them down, try and address them myself, or if I can't, I'll note them down and we'll bring the answers back next week after I discuss it with you. Thank you so much, Jalen.
You're welcome, and congratulations to all of you students, and welcome to Cal Maritime.
All right. With that, I will take it back to Judy and see if she would kick off today's session.
Because I believe Saul has the presentation slides. Can share.
Okay. Sorry, Saul, you get the floor.
Yeah, no worries. Let me screen share here and hopefully everybody can see the PowerPoint so you all can follow along. Should be coming up soon. Let's see. Is everybody able to see the PowerPoint presentation in presentation mode?
Not yet.
Yes. Not yet.
Not yet.
Here.
Ah, there it
Yes.
is.
There we go.
Thank you. All right. So, like I said, my name is Saul Ramirez, so Director of Financial Aid. We're going to go over some information about financial aid and about student accounting cash sharing services. If my next slide advances to the next one here. There we go. All right, so this is what we hope to cover in today's presentation. So we're going to talk about the financial aid process. Hopefully you all have already gone through this process. You've already applied, but just in case it's not too late, we'll go over that. We're going to go ahead and talk about cost of attendance. How much approximately will it cost to attend Cal Maritime and the different categories that we have to include, not just room and board, not just tuition, of course. There's other categories in there. Talk about those. We'll talk about how to access the bill once it does go out. Hasn't gone out yet, but once it's available, where you can see it, as well as financial aid, where to find that. We'll talk about payment plans. So in addition to financial aid, if that's not enough to cover the entire balance, there are payment plan options. We'll talk about those. Refunds, if financial aid is more than enough to cover the entire balance and there's money left over, students and parents do get refunded. So the leftover does not roll over to a future term. The students will get a refund, direct deposit or physical check. We'll talk about both of those. We'll talk about this important policy here, maintaining aid eligibility, satisfactory academic progress, or SAP short, and what that is for students to continue to receive their financial aid. Then we'll finish off with some important dates and questions. Questions for financial aid, we ask that you keep them, and student accounting either, keep them general. If you have any questions specific to you, please contact us. We'll have our contact information in the deck slide towards the end. But if you want to know why didn't I get this, why haven't I seen that, we've applied but we haven't heard anything, please contact us directly so we can provide just for privacy, and we don't want to put any personal or private information out in a public setting like this. All right, so the first thing, want to differentiate between the two. I mentioned earlier during my introductions that we both share a name or a word in our name, anyway, financial, but we do two very different things. We are required separation of duties as a federal requirement that what they do, I can't do. What I do, I can't touch what they do. Just legalities and the way the program works. But if you have questions for financial aid, we can assist you with perhaps how to apply. I'll start with the last one. How to apply for scholarships, where to find scholarships. I need additional financial aid resources. Where can I find them? What is the difference between this grant versus that grant? We can answer questions about eligibility. Sometimes it happens. Last year we were eligible for this, but this year I don't see it. What changed? Why am I not eligible? Or I have a friend who I see is eligible for a grant. How come it's not on my account? Can you tell me why I'm not eligible? Or how can I become eligible for it? We will help students and parents complete necessary forms and applications like the FAFSA, which we will talk about. And we provide information on the different types of financial aid. What does it mean to have to be a grant? What's a grant versus a loan versus work study? Versus a scholarship. So those are all questions that we can assist with. Some of the questions related to the one part of on the right-hand side under financial services, and Judy will talk about those. But some of those, if you contact our office, we may be able to assist you. I just would hate for you to contact us. And sometimes the turnaround time, because like my department is an office of one and a half, a colleague that I have is usually technical, but sometimes he'll jump in and help. So that translates to perhaps you not hearing back from me in a day or two. And if I don't have the answer, that means that you waited 2 days for me to say, let me go ahead and transfer you, or let me go ahead and forward your email to another area. and then you sit a day or two in that area because it also takes time. So while we're happy to try to answer some of these questions, it may delay getting you an answer by contacting an office that may not have the appropriate response. So with that said, I'll let Judy talk about the right-hand side and what the financial services and student accounting is able to do and answer for you.
Yes, thank you, Saul. So financial services consist of student accounts and cashier. The cashier, Erna, isn't available today, but she's usually at the cashier's window. We assist with questions regarding charges on accounts. We usually the student accounts, we process refunds, financial aid disbursements, and we also do the 1090 tax forms. And the cashier's office is where students can pick up their parking permits. Just to note, for the incoming students, freshmen and transfer students, they would need approval from the campus parking police department. We have been receiving a lot of inquiries for logging into the Transact or CashNet payment systems. So the student has to be matriculated first, and then IT has to set up their account in the PeopleSoft student systems. Then they will be able to log in to purchase their parking permit if they are approved. But again, on orientation day, August 16, if there's still trouble logging in, we can assist you at the cashier's office for purchasing the parking permit.
Thank you, Judy. All right, so now let's jump into how to apply for financial aid. As I mentioned, hopefully you've already done this, but if you haven't, it's not too late. Normally you'd want to apply for either the FAFSA, which you see on the left-hand side, and these are some of the requirements. For FAFSA, you should have a social security number. You should be a US citizen, permanent resident, or eligible non-citizen. And this application will determine if you're eligible for federal, state, and institutional dollars. So that may be from loans, grants, or scholarships. If students are not able to apply for the FAFSA, they can fill out the California DREAM Act application. So those are students that don't have a social security number, that are not US or permanent residents, but they do fall under the category of California AB 540. And they can still receive financial aid in the form of state dollars and institutional dollars. They won't be eligible to receive any federal aid, like the Pell Grant or direct federal loans, but there are other grants and resources available for students who cannot fill out the FAFSA. The deadline historically has been March 2nd, although the last couple of years there's been a lot of changes with the FAFSA, a lot of obstacles and hurdles that parents and students have gone through, and it makes it hard for filers to file the FAFSA. They have extended the deadline, so the deadline the last couple of years has been into April and May. That's just a priority deadline. That means that if you file within that time frame for the state of California before that deadline, you are, as long as you're eligible based on the other requirements, almost guaranteed that you will get those California dollars. Filing outside of that priority deadline means that even if you meet other income or asset requirements, you won't get those dollars because you filed after the priority deadline. You could still get federal aid. So the March 2nd deadline, priority deadline, is for California state and California dollars. So anything from the federal government like a Pell or loans, there is no deadline, which is why if you haven't already filed, highly encourage you to do so. You may still be eligible if you qualify based on the needs formula from the federal government, receive some sort of financial assistance. You're not filling out both, you're only filling one or the other. So it's either the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act application, and you have to fill it out every year. So for the upcoming 25-26, should have already done it for 25-26. Starting in October 1st, you should start thinking about and be completing the one for 26-27. As of right now, it'll open October 1st and should close March 2nd. But that deadline may get extended. Not sure yet. We will communicate with students We do have FAFSA and DREAM workshops. So I send out email communications, flyers to students, in-person and virtual workshops. If students need help filling out the application every year, they can come in and get support during those workshops. Those dates are usually later in January and February is when normally we've had those. All right, so jumping now to the student portal. So student portal, also referred to as PeopleSoft Student Systems, is where students will go to access a lot of their information. A lot of perhaps your questions even reaching out may be answered by logging in here. The problem is that only the student has access. Even for parents who have signed or students who have signed an authorized release form, you won't have access to this. This is unique to the student user, the student password, and then there's a secondary dual authentication that is sent to the student so that they can authorize to go into this account. But it is very important, perhaps for you to poke around in here along with the student. We'll talk about some of the things that are included in what you'll find in the PeopleSoft student system or the student portal. So if you go to that website at the top, I've updated the URL there, but you click on or hover over login and then click on PeopleSoft Student Systems. Oops, it is in the wrong order here, but you want to click on Student Center, the Student Center box. That first box that you see on there is where you want to click to find the information that we're about to talk about. This is where the student will put in their username and password. Again, it's unique to the student. Parents, you will not have a username or password. This is for the student. Once you log in, there's a lot of information on the right-hand side, information that briefly go over. But if the student has any holds, they'll be listed on the right-hand side under hold section. Excuse me, especially any registration holds. There's a section on there that is called to-do list items. So if financial aid or other areas need student to take action on these things, those to-do list items will be listed on there. For this presentation, we're going to go ahead and focus on the left-hand side, where you can find a lot of information on billing, on charges, and on financial aid. So let's talk about the green arrow. This view is actually a little bit different than yours. You should see when you log in two blue hyperlinks here. So right now you only see the view financial aid. Right underneath that should be another link that says accept decline financial aid. Both of those are, of course, financial aid related. We're going to talk about the view financial aid for now, and then Judy will go ahead and talk about the account activity coming up shortly. All right, so the first picture there on the left, number one, you're going to go ahead and click on View Financial Aid. And then number two, click on 2026. That year will change. So for last year, you would want to, for 24-25, you would have clicked on 25. For next year, once we have the financial aid available for 26-27, there will be another row on top with the 27. That's where you'll want to click to view your financial aid for 26-27. If there isn't a row that you are looking for example, let's say you had filed the 26-27 FAFSA already, and you were waiting to receive financial aid, but there isn't a 27 to click on, that means you may want to reach out to financial aid. Something is probably wrong. Or in this case, if you saw 2026, but you couldn't click on 2026, that means that financial aid has not been awarded yet. So if this is as far as you can go, but you've already filed the FAFSA, you'll need to contact financial aid to find out, am I missing anything? Have you received my FAFSA? What's happening here? If you are able to click any further and you click on 2026, you should get that picture on the right that will have the financial aid listed. You can scroll it. It's fairly, not fairly, but it's long. There's multiple sections. At the top, it's going to give you the financial aid for the full academic year. In this case, this student is receiving a middle-class scholarship for $736. They have a Pell Grant, loans, Cal Grants. You see the amounts on here as well as EOP. Ironically, the student is an EOP participant and they're receiving an EOP grant as well. So that's for the full academic year. However, we break it up per semester. The student is going to get billed per semester So financial aid will also get released per semester. So you'll want to look at the term specific, and that's the red box around there. That essentially has taken the top data and split it in half, is all it's done. Half for fall, half for spring is usually how it's split, except for maybe some scholarships. Some scholarships, when we get the check from the donor, some scholarship will say apply it only for fall. So we'll do what the donor says. These are external scholarships. So if you are receiving a scholarship, you'll want to send it to us, but ensure that they tell us which term. Do they want it also apply 50-50, half for fall, half for spring, or all for spring or all for fall? We'll do that. If that's the case, and let's say it was all for fall, you will only see it listed under fall 25 term details and not under spring because it was a fall only award. So you'll see the amounts on here. There are two columns, offered and accepted. Anything that is free money, you do not have to accept. It is automatically accepted for you. So you'll see the middle class scholarship, the Pell Grant, the Cal Grant B fee and access, EOP. Those are grants, free money. Don't have to accept. We've accepted them for you. You don't need to take action. But if you'll notice, the subsidized and unsubsidized loans, those are offered, not accepted. Those are loans that the student will eventually have to pay back. So the student needs to be proactive and take action on accepting those loans and taking the debt responsibility that comes with it, to say, yep, I acknowledge I'm going to take out these loans. They will be required to sign a master promissory note and an entrance counseling. We'll notify them via email of that requirement. But this way the student knows, I am borrowing money from somebody, somebody's lending me money temporarily, I'll have to give it back eventually. And that's why those required to take action. Going back to the picture with number 1 here, this is where you will find the what's not listed here, but the accept and decline financial aid. It'll be listed on number 1 here. This is where the student will go to accept the financial aid if they want the loans to be taken out. If they don't want to take out the loans, they don't have to. The loans, the grants will be the only thing that will be released. And then the loans will just sit there. The student does not have to decline them. By being on the account here does not mean that the student has taken out the loans. They're just being offered. They can sit there the entire year without the student being responsible for ever paying back. So don't feel like I need to decline it. Otherwise, they're going to assume that I accepted the loans. Doesn't work that way. You can sit on them if you don't want to accept them at the beginning of the year because you're able to pay out of pocket the difference. If financial aid is not enough to cover it, you can pay out of pocket. Come spring, if you need them, you can accept them in December, January, February, all the way through April of next year. The loans will sit here as long as they are not declined. All right, so we saw an example of financial aid award. Now let's talk about how much does it cost. Similar section. So if you go to view financial aid, actually not similar, it's the exact same section, view financial aid, click on 2026. There is a link right in between the 2 charts that we were looking at. It's called financial aid summary. If you click on that financial aid summary, it's going to give you a picture similar to this. And then that top number should be hyperlinked. You click on that 31,261 or whatever your number is. These numbers are going to look different for you. Same as a financial aid award. It's going to look different for every, and in fact, from year to year, may look different as well. In this case, you would click on 31,262. And then it tells you what the cost is going to be. This is not the final cost. This is not the charge. Student accounting and cashiering will send you the bill notice. This is only to help us when we award financial aid, how much money you're going to need. Some of the things that are listed on here are what we call direct expenses. Direct expenses, what Cal Maritime is going to charge you for. So that's food and housing if you live on campus. That is mandatory medical insurance, unless you waive out of that. That is tuition, of course. And if the student had a uniform cost, it'll also be estimated in here. So those are all costs that Cal Maritime is going to charge you for. There are indirect costs, like books and supplies. We are not going to charge you. Your books and supplies is not going to be part of your bill when we send it out. Personal and miscellaneous, $1,200. Transportation, $700 for the fall semester. Those are not going to be part of the billing. But when we build the financial aid package, we have to account for those. And this is the amounts that you see on here is the average amount that students in the past have spent on these items. Students needed money for books and supplies, so they needed $527 for fall, $527 for spring. They needed money for personal miscellaneous. They needed money for transportation, like gas, car maintenance, insurance. These are all things that students have needed in the past and needed financial aid for. So as you're going through these numbers, if you maybe perhaps as a parent say, well, you know what, I could help my son or daughter with books, so let's not include 527. And I'm also going to give them some money to Target runs. They need toiletries, or to go out maybe with friends on the weekends. They really don't need $1,200. Maybe they just need $500, and I'm going to give that money to them. So then your true cost is for the semester may not actually be $14,000, maybe closer to $11,000 or $12,000 if you're going to be helping that student with these costs. If they are going to be needing that, then yes, it'll be closer to $14,000. And we've already accounted for that when we awarded the students financial aid. We took that into consideration. And same thing for spring, the same amounts are listed on there, with the exception of the medical insurance is higher in the spring because that also includes the summer insurance cost. So let me go ahead and turn it over to Judy, and she can talk about the account activity page also on the student portal.
Yes, thank you, Saul. So to see the charges and fees posted on a student's account, the best way to view that would be on the left-hand side. There is other finance information. And if you can click on the down arrow key, account activities listed there. And this is shown by semesters. So all the charges are here, as well as any payments such as financial aid or any student payment that has been made for tuition. So there is, if you click on the down arrow key, there's spring 2025, but for the upcoming semester, it'll be fall. And then for the next spring semester, spring 2026. So there's a list of charges and payments, and any refunds will be shown on this page as well.
Can I add something real quick, Judy, on this? So you'll notice payment. Payment is not necessarily out of pocket. You'll see the financial aid listed on here. So some of the questions that you may have and that I receive is, we got a Pell Grant, but I don't know if it's already been applied. The picture on the left-hand side, you see how much is owed, $11,000. Perhaps you want to know, what is that $11,000? Where is it coming from? That's what the picture on the right does. It itemizes what those charges are. You can filter by the term, in this case, like Judy said, 2025. But the question sometimes comes in the form of, I see that I owe $11,000, but we got financial aid. Does that include financial aid, or does it not include financial aid? You can click on this account activity to see what's under payments to determine, oh yeah, Pell Grant already paid. Yep, the loans already paid. EOP already paid. So that $11,000 already includes financial aid. Or if you don't see any on here, any financial aid under payments, then something happened. Then you definitely want to reach out to financial aid and say, hey, I see $11,000. I clicked on the account activity, but financial aid is not listed. Can you tell me why? And we can certainly look into it. There's obviously credit card payment that you see on here on the picture on the right. So that's also includes any out of pocket. If there was money left over, once financial aid kicked in and your out of pocket expense, and it covered all the charges under the charges column, then this is where you would get a refund, and it'll be listed under the refund column.
Thank you, Saul. So the student accounts and cashier team, we also do the payment plans. Just to let everyone know, block enrollment for incoming students begins around Thursday of next week. And so we have due dates for students enrolled in July. So to begin with the payment plan here, we have this payment plan. It is only eligible for balances of more than $400. There is an initial $50 charge to sign up for the payment plan. And if you sign up for the payment plan for the fall 2025 semester, you would have to pay for the $50 administrative fee. If you sign up for the spring 2026 semester, you would also have to pay for the $50. administrative fee for that semester. So for the students enrolled in July, the first payment due date is August 15th. For the payment plan, it's a third of the balance, including the $50 administrative fee. The second due date would be September 15th, and the last due date will be October 15th. Now, for the students enrolled in August, the registrar's office had let us know that they are going to continue this end of July and in August. So the students enrolled in August, the due date is September 15th. Also a third of the balance plus the $50 administrative fee. The second due date is October 15th, and the final due date is November 15th. For refunds, such as the financial aid, if there is any excess from financial aid and any credit showing on the student's account, that will be refunded to the student. So refunds will be issued after August 11 via direct deposit or physical checks. Here is a QR code for direct deposit instructions. We will also go over that on the next slide. And we have here, if the parent has taken a Parent Plus loan and wants the refunds to be sent to them, they would have to set it up during the application process. So I do see there are a few questions here. So where can we enroll for payment plans? So to receive the payment plan form, if you can please email cashier@csum.edu. We will provide the form and you can send it to us electronically. And there's another question here. What does it mean to be enrolled for July? So for the incoming students, the registrar's office enrolls the students in classes. And so there is a time frame of when they do that, and they will begin next week. And so to capture all the students and the billing, we had decided as a campus for students enrolled in July, the billing due date will be in August. So the billing statements will be sent out on August 5th. The due date is August 15th. Now, for the students that are enrolled in August, so the charges will show once a student is enrolled, and the due date for the August 15th. Oh, thank you. You already went to the important dates. It will be in September. And so we can discuss more on this. I didn't mean to go ahead. I just wanted to answer the question.
Yeah, no problem.
So to
you wanna
enroll
talk-
direct deposit, again, as Sewell had mentioned earlier, you would have to sign in into the PeopleSoft student systems on the login page. And then on that page, there is the finances section on the bottom. And there is a link where you can click enroll in direct deposit. And this is highly encouraged for the students to enroll in direct deposit. We encourage students to do this. So paper checks are typically sent to the mailing address on file. But if a student is enrolled in direct deposit, it's much quicker and it'll be sent to their banking information, the bank account.
All right, so I want to talk about this policy, maintaining aid eligibility. Students will be made aware as well. It is part of their syllabi. It's included in here because it's very important. So students can fill out the FAFSA, students can receive financial aid, but they also have to make progress towards graduation. Making progress towards graduation means that they will maintain at least a 2.0 GPA, that they will complete 67% of the classes that they attempt, and that they won't go over a certain number of units above what the requirement is for them to graduate. So the three standards are the GPA, the PACE, and maximum time frame. Every spring semester, at the end of the spring semester, we will go ahead and run a process and look at their performance. Once grades are posted, to look at every student academic performance. And if they have above a 2.0 GPA, we will send them an email saying, congratulations, you meet this policy. You can continue to receive financial aid for summer and for next year. So this applies for the upcoming year, not for the past year. So that's if they're passing. If they're not passing, if once we review their GPA, and it's a cumulative GPA, not a term GPA, but we will let the student know you did not meet this policy. This policy requires that you maintain a 2.0 and your GPA was 1.95. Unfortunately, what that means is that you cannot receive financial aid for the summer if they're enrolled in the summer, and not financial aid for fall or spring of the upcoming academic year. The student has two options. They can either appeal, submit an appeal to the financial aid office. This is explained to them in the email and instructions provided, letting us know what happened. Why did they not meet one of these standards, GPA, PACE, or maximum time frame? And what are they going to do to make sure it doesn't happen again? Usually things like health. You know what? I was very sick, and unfortunately I had to miss 3 weeks of class. Obviously that impacted my academic performance. Nobody plans on being sick, but in the future, if I get sick, I will email my professors. I will see what I can do from home without missing too much of the work. Sometimes it's financial. You know what? I had to work. I picked up extra hours because I needed to pay my balance. Financial aid was not enough, but putting in extra hours means that I got out from work at midnight. I had class at 7 or 8 in the morning, and I couldn't make it to that class. So that affected my performance. Okay, what are you going to do moving forward? Well, I cut back my hours, looking at applying for scholarships to help me cover the additional expense instead of having to work, and seeking advising or tutoring. So those are some examples of, okay, we definitely understand the student can appeal. We will go ahead and give them their financial aid back for 1 semester. We'll monitor their performance, whether that's for summer semester, if they are enrolled, or fall semester. At the end of the fall semester, are they making progress? Have they made any progress? Are they really seeking the remedial situation that they said they were going to do, or are they not? And then if they are, they're good for the second semester. If they're not, then their financial aid gets canceled. If they don't appeal, or their financial aid gets canceled after not meeting the terms of the appeal, then the student has to pay out of pocket. There is no financial aid, federal financial aid available to them in the form of grants, loans, Parent Plus loan, or private loans. Unless the private loan that the student's applying for, the lender says, we really don't care about this policy, and there are some, then we can go ahead and give them that private loan, but that would be the only one. So very important that students, if something happens, sometimes students carry a heavy load, 20 units or more than 20 units. Will that impact their academic performance? Because if it does, then it's going to affect financial aid. So just be careful, know about it. If it happens, it happens, and that's okay, but it happens once, and then the student learned from it, and make sure they take corrective action on ensuring that it doesn't happen again. So that policy is very important. I want to talk about FERPA. So FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. This is very important. We are required to collect permission from the student to release information to parents or other family members. It doesn't have to be a parent, but the student has to authorize us. Without it, we cannot release information, including financial aid. I understand that your income, tax return income, was required to file the FAFSA. I understand that you are footing the bill. I understand that you should have the right to get answers about the students' billing, financial aid, academics, but the student is protected under this federal law. And in order for us to not get in trouble and abide by that law, we have to collect a authorization to release. This is a notice that the student has to fill out and authorize. Not the parent, but the student will go into the student portal listed on here. They click on authorize to release information, and they list who they want to release information to, who's this person, and they list what areas do they want us to release information. Maybe the student just wants Cal Maritime to release information on financial aid, but that's it. Nothing about academics, nothing about billing. Or maybe they just want financial services, they're billing, but no grades, no financial aid information. Or maybe they want all of it, everything. And then they list everything on here. So that when you call one of our office, the first thing that we're going to look at is, are you authorized to release has a student authorized us to release information to you? Who are you? And so we will confirm that. If there isn't one in the system, we can answer general questions. Essentially anything that is on our website, I can tell you, yep, the loan, the interest rate is 8 point whatever it is. Yep, this is where you go to apply. If you ask how much do they owe, I can't answer that. We don't have authorization to release. What is my son being charged for? I'm sorry, I am unable to release that information. Even to have they filed a FAFSA, I can't release that information because your son or daughter has not authorized us. So just FYI, for the students that are on the call, make sure that if you want us to release information, fill it out. For parents whose student is not present, to talk to them about this authorization to release, and either bribe them or threaten them, whichever you prefer, so that we can release information to you. Important dates, a lot of important dates coming up. Judy, do you want to go down the line and talk about the bill notices?
Yes.
I know you already talked about them already, but maybe in general.
Yes, so to elaborate, students enrolled are students who are in classes, so the registrar's office will enroll them in classes. So that's when, for the students that are enrolled in classes from July to the end of this month, August 5th is when the billing statements will be sent out. The first financial aid disbursement is August 11th. The due date for those students will be August 15th. So August 19 is the last day for 100% tuition refund. So the refund has to be before the first day of classes, which is August 20th. So for the students enrolled in classes in August, the billing statements will be sent out on September 5th. The due date is September 15th. And then I do see here, so will you have October 1st? For the
October
FAFSA, go ahead.
Yep. Sorry. So October 1st is, as of now, when the new FAFSA is supposed to go live. So that's for the 26-27. I know we would only be in class with August, September, October, 3 months into the year, and we're already talking about next year. That's how fast things are going to move. That's how soon you should start thinking about filling out the FAFSA and applying for financial aid for next year. That's not the deadline. This is the beginning. You will have all of October, November, December, January, February, and March, as of now, March 2nd, to file the FAFSA. I would probably recommend filling it out during winter break. So right in maybe mid-December to early January is usually when students may be home, may have more time. You want to fill out that FAFSA application during that period. But as early as October 1st, start looking out for information or going online to at least start it. Don't wait until March 2nd. The system is going to crash. You're not going to find your username, your password. Things are going to be out of your control. And unfortunately, Department of Ed will say you had 5 months to fill it out. It happens every year, I guarantee it. So do not wait.
Thank you, Saul. And so to go down this list, the students that are enrolled in classes in September, the billing statements will be sent out on October 5th. The due date is October 15th. And then for the spring 2026 semester, financial aid will be released and dispersed on December 29th. Here is our information and where you can contact us. The financial aid is on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side is the financial services. The main points are the cashier's office, that's the phone number, and then the student accounts phone number is listed here as well. The cashier email is cashier@csum.edu. The student accounts email is studentaccounts@csum.edu. And
I
also,
will say,
cashier's office hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Go ahead,
Can you
sir.
repeat that,
and I was
please?
gonna say really quickly that if you do contact the cashier's office 10:30 and you want to get a hold of the cashier's office, they're option number 6. I think financial aid is option maybe 1 or 2. So I get a lot of calls from cashiers saying, I thought I was calling cashiers. That's because you didn't wait long enough for the option number 6. So just make sure that if you are calling 10:30 and you want to talk to cashiers, option 6, but if you want to talk to financial aid, by all means, press that financial aid option. And I know we have, I think, quite a bit of questions. We don't have a lot of time left, so let's see how many questions we can get through.
Thank you for such a detailed presentation, both Saul and Judy. Are you able to stay past 6:30 so we can keep answering the questions, or are you, okay, I see
I am
not,
free.
so thank you. We'll get started. If there's anything I can answer, I'll just go ahead and quickly answer. If it's related to what you guys are talking about, then I'll let you pick it up. Do students need to pay the dinner fee at orientation? The answer is no. Only family members and supporters would pay. The students are covered by their orientation fee that they pay. Where is family orientation webpage? So overall, apologies for how our web pages are appearing right now. The new website just went live yesterday. So give us a day to figure out. I actually haven't even had the chance with my travel recently to look at the website and figure out where it's hopping from one link to another. So give us a day or so. When we meet on Tuesday, I will have a much clearer understanding of where to send you without having to make multiple clicks and searches to get to the information you're looking for. Before the end of today, after we've thanked our presenters and they've left, I will share the schedule with you for the 16th and answer any questions. But please bear with us as we work our way through the new webpage website situation. When will the students know they have a financial aid offer?
We've already sent out the financial aid offers for any student whom we have received the FAFSA for. When you fill out the FAFSA, one of the things I did forgot to mention, is that you want to specify our school code 001134 or look us up by name. That is the Department of Education's way of knowing that you want them to send information to this school so that we can determine the financial aid eligibility. So a couple of things. If you've already filed a FAFSA and you have not received a financial aid offer from us, it's likely that maybe the school code was not listed. So Department of Ed did not give us the FAFSA because they had no way of knowing that the student wanted to come here. If Cal Maritime is listed, then perhaps we need documentation or information. Sometimes we need proof of citizenship. Maybe for veterans, DD 214. There's different things that we may need. So check on the student portal, the to-do list. If there's items that are listed on there, they need to be submitted to our office. Financial aid notifications were sent out to students to their Cal Maritime email account, not their personal, not Yahoo, not Gmail. We only send out financial aid information to Cal Maritime email account. So the student would have already received that information in there. So check that email if you haven't done so already, or look on the student portal. If you've checked all of those boxes and you're like, nope, there's nothing there. Nope, I submitted my FAFSA. Yes, Cal Maritime is listed. Please contact us at the contact information that you saw in the presentation. Financial aid, email preferably, financialaid@csum.edu. With the student ID number, so we can look it up and determine what is happening and how come the student has not been reported.
Thank you. The recordings from the last session, I do have it. Zoom sent it to me. It's in my possession. We're trying to figure out how best to put it on the Cal Poly, the integration website. So please allow an extra couple of days. By Monday, they should be available. We'll know exactly how to post them, so it should be smoother moving forward. All EOPs will be housed together. Can medical insurance be waived? Do you want to take this, or should we defer it to next week when we have health and safety?
Yes, medical insurance can be waived. They just have to fill out a waiver online. But I guess next week they can further elaborate on that.
There's some information. I saw 7-Eleven and 1813, and then there's a 1,650 line charge. Do you know, can you mention anything about that, Judy?
Yes, so the 7-Eleven is the medical insurance part A, fee for fall 2025. So when the medical insurance waiver is submitted, only the medical insurance part A is waived. The medical insurance part B of $25 is a mandatory fee, and that cannot be waived.
And what
I'm
that
not
does,
sure where the 1813 is from, but for the spring semester, the medical insurance is actually, let me see. Here it's for the spring, it's 1,102.
okay. EOP will receive their uniforms on the 15th. I know the photo upload situation is also tricky. Please bear with me until Tuesday on that. If there is more than enough financial aid to cover tuition, what is the next category that money goes to? Uniforms, books, campus fees?
You want me to take that one?
Yes.
All right, so depending on the financial aid, there are some financial aid that can only apply for tuition. So State University Grant, Cal Grant A is tuition paying only, so it will not pay for anything else. So if that's all that the student is getting and tuition is fully paid for, great. And if the student has loans or other sources of financial aid, then it'll just go down the line and start paying other items. So housing, food, it's not random, there is a logic, but it'll pay automatically. You, as a parent or the student, do not have to tell it, I want this 500 to pay this 500, this 250 to pay here. The system will automatically start chopping away at that balance due using the financial aid until all the financial aid is gone and you still have a balance due, and then you got to pay that difference. Or all the financial aid is gone, there are no more charges to pay, but there's money left over from your financial aid, and then you get a refund. So that's how it works. The systems will automatically do that. My system, financial aid, will communicate with Judy's and Jesus system and start applying things where they're supposed to. So tuition to tuition, everything else is next in line, start paying things off.
Thank you. Erin, I'm sorry if there's any confusion, but Sunday is the first day, at 17th is the first day of orientation. Your students will have a very full, busy day. It is not a free day at all. If anything was mentioned about Sunday, it could have been for family weekend. Friday, we come in midday, and Saturday you're with us, and Sunday is free if you're wishing to stay till Sunday and spend time with your student. There's no programming on campus for that day. But Sunday, August 17th, your students are going to be very busy getting acclimated to our campus. When and how should I pay tuition fees? Judy?
Yes, so when is that question is really for when the registrar's office will enroll the students. So if the students are enrolled in July, the due date will be in August. If the student is enrolled in August, the due date will be in September. And that is their time frame. So where will be on the website? I can post the link on the chat for that.
And please, we appreciate your patience. If that the link that Judy's sharing takes you to Cal Poly and you have to find your way back, that might happen, so bear with us on that. Amy says she's a returning student and could never figure out how to use the link. Do you have any adjustments or any tips on that?
Is it for the CashNet or Transact payments link?
Amy, could you unmute and give us that brief information? We'll keep moving. If our family was only eligible for loans, can we apply for California Dream?
The short answer is no. So the DREAM application is for undocumented students. So students who cannot file the FAFSA. Even if hypothetically you can't, but if you could file for the DREAM and you were only eligible for loans from the FAFSA, the DREAM application uses the same formula. So the DREAM would say you don't qualify for grants, you would only qualify for loans. So it'll default back to just the loans. It wouldn't get you any more financial aid. Again, if you could, you can't fill out the both DREAM and FAFSA. If FAFSA is saying that you're only eligible for loans, that is the eligibility based on the information that was provided on the FAFSA, but it was also based on information from 2023. So if that information has changed, then you could submit an appeal. You can contact the financial aid office for appeal instructions. Appealing means that you want us to update the FAFSA based on your 2025 income. So whatever that is going to be at the end of December 31st, we can update the FAFSA if it is going to be significantly less than what was reported from 2023. So if somebody got laid off, parents were divorced, there was a death in the family, and 2023 showed $200,000 because both parents were working at the time. But now between January and December 2025, only one parent is working or was laid off or separated, then you can do that appeal. Then we can see if recalculating your financial aid based on your current income makes a difference. It may not. FAFSA may still say, nope, you're still only eligible for loans based on the one-person income or the reduced income or no income at all. But it's worth a try. So if that's your situation, you can submit an appeal for that. It's on the financial aid under forms, but if you have trouble finding it, please shoot us an email and we can guide you directly to where that form is at.
Thank you, Saul. Will this slideshow be available anywhere? Could you post it on your website, web page, or send it to me, and I'm happy to post it on ours after I've figured out how we're doing the website business. What is your preference, Saul?
I can send it to you.
Okay, thank you. What should we estimate for summer cruise, summer session? Is the summer session eligible for federal aid?
Yes, I think I can answer both of those. So there is financial aid available for the summer. We will use the FAFSA that we will have in the system by then. So that'll be the 25-26. So this FAFSA that we're talking about, we will still reference it back to determine what the student's financial aid is going to look like for the summer. There is an additional cost depending on the program. So whether that's cruise or summer sea term, international experience, co-op, there's various programs depending on the student's career or major that'll determine, but usually runs from anywhere $1,700 to about $7,000, $8,000 for the cost. If you were to pay out of pocket, that does not include any financial aid that is available. Both of those will be determined, the cost and financial aid, in March or April of next year.
Thank you. Do you need to enroll for payment plan and make payments if you're waiting for financial aid to disperse from loans? So I'd say yes, you need to be enrolled. The registrar will enroll you either in July or in August, and based on that enrollment, you will be billed, and you've heard what those deadlines are. How does a student sign up for a payment plan?
To sign up for the payment plan, please email cashier@csu1.edu and we will send the payment plan form. And then if you can just send it back to us with your signature. But the payment plan will only be also available once the charges are showing on your account. So it's right after the student is enrolled in classes.
Judy, maybe you can follow up on this one. Can I choose to have my son be enrolled in August? And also, why aren't the costs on this slide?
So that is really through the registrar's office. That is not our not on our department, but that would be through them. And I will go ahead and post also the schedule of fees so you can view all the costs as well. So I'll post it on the chat.
Thank you. Where can we enroll for payment plans?
So that would be also if you can email cashier@csum.edu, we will go ahead and send the form.
What does it mean to be enrolled for July? So those students who have completed their transcripts and we have all their information, the registrar is able to block register that student. And all the students with completed information will be enrolled into a block registration of courses. Based on those courses, Judy can create a billing for it. And if the registrar is able to complete that for as many students as possible in July, the billing will hit in August. Anyone that has not completed their stuff or is a late admit, so if we've admitted someone after July 15th, they are likely to not be enrolled until August because we have to go through the process of receiving all the forms from them. They are most likely to be the August enrolled, and therefore their billing will be in September. Can I directly make payment from Scholar Share 529 account?
So we don't have that set up on our campus yet. I believe Cal Poly San Luis Obispo has that. But for now, it would have to be a paper check from the Scholar 529 account.
Thank you, Judy. We are not clear what enrollment actually means. When the student starts classes, John, enrollment means that the registrar goes in and looking at the student's major and looking at their roadmap of what classes they should take in their first semester, they enroll the student in those classes: chemistry, math, history, English, ethics, whatever the case may be. Based on their major and their roadmap, they're enrolled in those classes based on the major and the type of classes and the fees allocated to those classes. Once that part is done by the registrar, Judy can then see, okay, I need to charge this student for these types of classes, and these may be the fees allocated to those classes, and therefore she hits the send button on the bill and you can see a payment is due. And that's what we mean by enrollment, the classes that are given to your student based on their major and their status as an incoming, whether they're a freshman, whether they're a transfer. So all of those things play a role, and then your student is enrolled. Can you type the email for payment plan? Oh, Judy got it. Thank you. You're going over this so fast. Can we access this information later? Yes, we will post this this PowerPoint on a web page that I will share with you. Please allow some time for me to get there. And in the meantime, if you have any burning questions, very important that you need answers to, please feel free to email me at orientation@csum.edu, and I'll take it to Judy or Jesus or Saul and get you a response. So please don't be shy about reaching out to us directly until we get this slide deck shared with you. On the website, it says cost of attendance with a footnote that it's based on 15 units. My son is doing MT and they will have more than 15 units. Will he be charged more money for those terms?
I'm assuming they're looking at non-residents. So non-California residents pay a per unit in addition to the tuition-based fee. So if it is a non-resident student that is asking the question, the cost of attendance is only to give you an idea, should the student enroll in 15 units per semester. If they are going to be enrolled or registered in more than 15 units per semester, the system is set up to look at how many units those classes are going to be and then calculate those units at a $444 per unit. So that cost that you see on the cost of attendance page, it's an estimate, and it's an estimate at 15. So if the student does end up registering more, that true cost that the student will get billed will end up being more because the system multiplied 444 times however many units a student was registered for.
Thank you, Saul. Where do you get an access code? I'm not very sure what access code they are referring to, but Hillary seemed to have responded with a FERPA website. Yes, is that the right response?
I think
Saul?
It is on the
Yes.
authorization to release, yeah, and it's made up. It could be a unique code that only the student, the parent, and financial aid know. So when the parent or the family member calls financial aid, they can say, I'm Joe Smith. Okay, prove it. What's the code? And then they give me the secret password and go, that's a code. I'm like, okay, good. You are who you say you are. I can give you this information. So it's just any created code that, again, the three parties know of so that you can essentially repeat it back to me when I ask you what it is to confirm your identity.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that. So I'm learning too. Amy is sneaking in
This
a
is Hillary. Benita, I did not respond to that. That was actually a question. I
Oh,
see these and I don't know what to put in those boxes.
thank you, Hillary. Saul, do you
you.
want to take that?
Which piece? Sorry, what was the question?
It says, she says on FERPA, see the following: department records of release, purpose of release, what goes in these boxes
So
for the
for
FERPA
example,
waiver?
department could be student financials, records to release would be billing, same thing for the purpose as well, and vice versa with the financial aid department.
Hillary, was that helpful?
I don't know. I want everything to be released and Sun would approve that. So is there a box where you can just check all?
Yes, that would allow us to speak to you about health issues or health information as well as academic information. I'm not looking at the form, so I can't
But I
speak to
think
it.
if I remember correctly, it's per department. So you can list a department and say release everything. That is should be an option if I remember correctly, unless it has been changed. There isn't a box to indicate release everything from every department. You would physically have to enter each one of the departments and then click the I want everything released.
Thank you.
And Hillary, if you follow up with me with this question, I can dig a little bit deeper and help out as well. Do you have information on WUI for this upcoming year?
I may have some information, although it's not a financial aid program. So my understanding is that we are no longer participating in WUI, starting with the upcoming 25-26 academic year. However, we are honoring WUI cost. So although we're not going to be part of that program, meaning they're not going to advertise on their website, that the students are not going to be impacted. They should not see a difference as far as the cost, which will be the base fee plus 50% on top of that. It's what it always has been, even as a WUI program. So that's for the upcoming year. For future years and until the student graduates, that we are going to be offering a grant to offset or subsidize what the increased cost would have been to a WUI student to continue to keep them and grandfather them in at the cost that they would otherwise be paying or are paying for any student that is already here.
I was talking about Amy, who snuck in a question about sophomore students. They just got off their cruise. Is there financial awards? When will it be available for sophomores?
Anybody, so it doesn't matter. All students were already awarded financial aid. It should be on their student portal. If they haven't, they can make sure that they have the FAFSA, they have Cal Maritime listed, that they don't have any to-do list items. If none of those apply, they can go ahead and contact us so we can look further into it.
How do we know we are enrolled in July or August? Your student will receive an email that says, here are the courses you're enrolled in. So look for that from the registrar. How does a student sign up for a payment plan? And how will they know whether they are enrolled in July or August? So we've shared that information with you. Please reach out to the cashier How can one obtain a third-party access form for scholarships from third parties? Judy?
I don't think it's her area. I think it depends on what is the third party asking. So I'm assuming it sounds like there is a scholarship third party donor that is seeking information from Cal Maritime or the student's account. That's usually the case. If that is the case, and they're wanting to know what kind of financial aid the student is receiving, you can send that form to financial aid at csum.edu. If they're wanting to confirm enrollment, so that would be sent to the registrar's office or registrar@csum.edu.
Are there still grants and scholarships available for freshmen? Where do we find them and how to apply?
So all the grants that we have available are through the FAFSA. So if the student filled out the FAFSA and they were eligible for those grants, it would have been posted to their account. If they weren't posted, that means they're not eligible. With the exception of one, the middle class scholarship. Although it says middle class scholarship, it's not a scholarship, it's really a grant. But that one, the students should at least have an estimate on their account. If they don't have an estimate, it's still possible that they may get that one grant. We're sending information to Sacramento. They're the ones who administer that grant. And we should know maybe in a month or two, no, not two, in a month, if they are truly eligible. If still a month goes by and the student not awarded this grant, that means the student was not eligible for grants under the information that we received from the FAFSA. Scholarships, there are some scholarships. They're not Cal Maritime affiliated. They're external scholarship opportunities. On the financial aid homepage under types of aid and then scholarships, we have a section where students can start looking in there. This is not to say that there aren't any, but it is on the later side to be looking for scholarships with the semester right around the corner, although there are. This is not to discourage you from looking. Please continue to look. The ideal time to apply for scholarships is probably about same time as the FAFSA. So October, November, December, January, February is when you want to look at scholarship opportunities. But please look at the financial aid homepage for any remaining scholarship opportunities for the upcoming year still available.
I applied for a loan through FAFSA. How do I know if this loan was approved? I completed the training and the consent already. This is in addition to unsubsidized loan that was awarded already. However, the amount is not enough. Do I go elsewhere for a personal loan or scholarship? If yes, where can I apply for these personal school loans?
I am not clear if this person is asking about our Parent Plus loan. Is that the Parent Plus loan that you asking about?
AC? We're going to go to the next question, see if AC comes back. Where can we find the waiver, and do you have to sign the waiver in the spring? Are you talking about the FERPA waiver?
I believe this is the health insurance waiver. Because the website has been updated, it directly links to the Cal Poly site. So, Benita, when will the health center present? Maybe they can provide more
Next one, it's on Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay,
Mhm.
so they can further respond to this question.
Okay. I'm a vet and I called the VA advisor at the school. When will my post 9/11 GI Bill start paying the tuition? I haven't accepted my loans because I want my GI Bill to pay tuition first, and then the remainder tuition will be paid with the loans.
So the VA certifying official, I believe it's still Shari. She will send student accounts, a list of students with either their Chapter 33 or their GI Bill, and then we will post that to the student's account.
Okay. When will we hear about Captain David Lemon's scholarship?
So I think that one closed on the 30th, I believe. We haven't looked at the applications. We need to go ahead and review. I don't expect any decisions to be made probably till mid-August or so, closer to the beginning of the semester, to be honest.
their schedule of classes is enrollment, and we're waiting to do that by the end of this month. How is the code created? That passcode, that access code that you discussed, how do they create that with FAFSA?
The FERPA, is that what the one we're talking about again?
No, we're talking about that code that 3 people would have, you with a family member.
Oh, yeah, it's FERPA, so it's the authorization.
FERPA.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so it's the authorization form. You create it. You can pick 1, 2, 3, 4. You can pick 9999. You can whatever you want that code to be. It is grabbed out of thin air if that's what you want, or something that is significant, your date of birth. It is not a code that you have to download an app to generate unless you want to. But yeah, it's essentially any random number or a number that means something to you.
Thank you. Erin, I believe that we have someone who will evaluate all your transcripts and all your transfer credits, and based on what your roadmap looks like and what you've brought in, they will register you. You'll have a chance to review those and make any changes to your registrations. Once you're here on campus, one of the days of orientation, you'll be able to go in and see the registrar and make those adjustments. So I wouldn't worry too much, but all your stuff will be taken into consideration before classes are allocated. We will pay Cal Maritime fees for all 4 years, or will that change to Cal Poly tuition fees?
That is expected to change. So I don't know what that pricing structure is going to look like, but we do know that it is going to change to their fee structure.
Jesus, do you have anything to add to that?
I do not know what the fees are gonna look like. I'm in the same position that Saul.
Thank you.
I think to add, it will still be Cal Maritime for fall and spring 2026,
for
but
sure.
starting summer 2025, it will transition to Cal Poly's.
Does anyone want to tell us what WUI stands for?
Western Undergraduate Exchange Program, and these are Western states that participated in this program. So there's probably, I think, about 12 of them that were part of this cohort, where any student that was coming from those states, instead of paying out-of-state tuition, which is, again, the $444 per unit times, or plus rather, plus the base tuition fee, it can get a little pricey. So instead of paying that out of state, they were classified as Western undergraduate exchange program students, and they would pay a lesser amount. So the best deal is California residents, and that's because of the California taxes that are being paid into the system. Next best deal is WUI, and then the third option is out-of-state students, non-residents. So WUI students fell right in between the two and paying the middle charges there.
And what is work study?
So work study is awarded through FAFSA. Students have to be eligible for. Not every student who's eligible receives it. So we have very limited funding that we receive from Department of Ed. Essentially, Department of Ed gives us a grant. They give us $25,000 and they say, award this $25,000 to students. So at Cal Maritime, we give each student $2,000 who is eligible. Doesn't go a long ways, but these students get a grant. The only difference is this grant is not like the Pell Grant. Does not go towards tuition, does not go towards housing, does not go towards the fees that Cal Maritime is going to charge the student. In order for the student to receive this grant, the student has to find a job. Most of the jobs are on campus, so they go through career services. They look through the list of job openings and they say, oh, I want to work for admissions. That sounds like a fun job. I'm going to go ahead and apply. And if admissions participates and they hire work study students, the student will hire the student, and their salary gets paid from that $2,000 grant. This is beneficial and helpful in a couple of ways. To the student, any of these earnings do not get reported on the FAFSA, so it does not affect their financial aid for the following FAFSA year when they renew their FAFSA. And then to the department, it also helps because a department may not have a budget. They may not have money to hire students, but by us giving the student this grant, now they're able to hire the student and have their salary paid out of that. That means that the student then goes through HR, a hiring process. Well, before that, interview process, hiring process, and they get a paycheck. So every month, the student will be issued a paycheck until they reach $2,000. And that's how they get awarded and use their work study. If a student has work study and they don't want to work, they want to explore their first year, make sure that they're able to handle the workload. They just want to see how the first year is going to look like, and they have work study there, nothing happens. Work study can sit there, but the student will not get that grant. It'll just money that is sitting out there. The student is not going to get a paycheck to be withdrawing from that grant, $2,000 grant.
They have to earn it.
You have to earn it.
I wanted to clarify, Erin wants to know that any student who's coming in with WUI fee structure will have access to that same fee structure for the rest of their time at Cal Maritime. 4 or 5 years, whatever it takes for them.
That is correct. That is my understanding. That's information that has been trickled down to me, even though the financial aid office is not the department that administers the WUI program.
Where and when can students apply for work study? It's part of their FAFSA.
Yep. So you fill out the FAFSA, filling out the FAFSA, then the formula determines you are eligible for work study. If the question is, I have work study, where do I apply for jobs? The career services will have a website dedicated for employment, student employment opportunities.
We'll answer. You can look up jobs when students are on campus. They will see what that portal looks like, and they will meet with career services. They'll see how they can apply for jobs across campus, and they can identify that they are work study, and it's actually, like Saul said, it's a plus. Departments are looking for students who have work study because they can have access to a student assistant without actually impacting their own budget, because that grant is sitting with the student. So once they're on campus, they'll be taken through all of these programs that are available to them. We are at 7:01, and I want to thank all our presenters for taking extra time this evening to answer all the questions. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. Please share this the slide deck with me so I can share it with families. And I want to a round of applause for all the families who joined us today and are supporting their students. We will be back on Tuesday with a new set of presenters, health and safety, on at 5:30 right here on screen with new people. Thank you again. Have a wonderful evening and a restful weekend. Bye-bye.